We are still in the clause 4 context of the organization. Let's now see the second subclause of the chapter, which is understanding the needs and expectations of interested parties. Here the requirement of the standard is for the organization to identify interested parties and then determine what are the requirements of such parties. The requirement has to be relevant to the organization and to its quality management system. Also, the standard asks for the organization to monitor and to review periodically the requirements of those parties. Why? Because of course in time they may change. Now the intent of this requirement is to enable the organization to take into consideration more than just the requirements of its direct customers or end users, but also to have another view and to look for the requirements of other parties. Of course, the interested parties are unique to the organization. They depend on the context of the organization, but some examples are included in the course, like customers, end users of products and services, partners, owners, shareholders, bankers, suppliers, employees, authorities, competitors, trade associations, and so on. How to identify the requirements of the interested parties? Well, there is no fake solution. They may be found in many documents, and there are a lot of sources from where the organization can identify requirements of interested parties. Let's take an example. Orders and contracts, industry codes and standards, conventions and protocols, communication with the community, legal and regulatory requirements applicable to the activity, to product and services, participation in associations, benchmarking and market surveillance, reviewing the relations with suppliers, conducting customer reviews, and also monitoring and user satisfaction reports. How we can audit this requirement? The standard doesn't ask for documented information. There is no need for study of requirements from interested parties. So the auditor will have to adapt to find ways to obtain this information. Interviews, of course, with top management and relevant personnel of the organization are a source to see whether the company takes into consideration the requirements of interested parties. And also review of any sort of documented information like the one I mentioned before can be sourced from where an auditor can obtain objective evidence. Also, the auditor will need to talk or to take into consideration the system used by the organization to review and monitor the requirements of interested parties and if the interested parties are relevant to its context and its activity. So the management review provides an opportunity for the organization to review the requirements of the interested parties and to see whether they are still relevant.